Next.
Okay.
Endurance?
Who's next? So endurance.
So about a decade or so ago, I published a book called Wind Performer's Guide to Increasing Endurance. And I think it's on our list there. You can certainly look at that. One of the things that happens with aging is we lose what's called vital capacity. Vital capacity is the amount of air you can bring into your lungs and then expel, the amount of working air you have. The reduction is from your 20s till your 60s, roughly 30 or 40%. If you're a smoker, even more. One of the solutions is to learn to circular breathe. So that may be something to consider, is you can extend the amount of time you play on an instrument. It's harder to circular breathe on the bassoon than oboe. But in both cases, with reduced lung capacity, maybe an old dog can learn a new trick, right? And learn to do that.
I think aerobic exercise
Absolutely.
will help increase the lung capacity.
Tennis?
I was a runner in my 40s, but I don't do that anymore, but I still do aerobic exercises.
There were studies, I believe it was in London, with health of the trolley person who just sat in the chair and took everybody's ticket to the one that walked up and down the aisle, and the one that walked up and down had a longer longevity due to that. There's also was an interesting article that came out in Pittsburgh about, his name was Brian Simpson.
I remember that.
And he had something like less than 20% lung capacity at the time and was just on his deathbed. And at the end, he decided, I want to go back to playing the oboe again, like I did, and listen to oboe. He started just making notes on the oboe. And because of that resistance of playing the oboe, it increased his lung capacity such that he was able to get out of the hospital, play in some community orchestras and things like that. So keep playing your instruments. It's an exercise routine that is so important for our health.
Yeah.
There's also, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, also as you get older, you find that the faster you blow, all you're doing is imparting energy. The faster you blow, the less air you use.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
I was
Frank.
going to say, people don't know Arnold Jacobs' books and his
Yeah.
techniques. I mean, he was born the one longest tuba player in Chicago Symphony.
Yes.
So I really recommend that.
It's called Song and Wind.
Yes.
He had one lung.
The vagus nerve is a nerve that starts here and goes through most of our body. And there's been, when you use the QR code, you will see a massive number of links and books and articles. And it's just the beginning of what we should be collecting. And particularly sound healing, which is a new area of medicine that is massive. And I encourage you to investigate sound healing because it applies to everything. And but the vagus nerve responds in a stress-reducing way to exhalation. So if it's recommended that you're stressed out and you inhale for 5 seconds and you exhale for 10 seconds, you will reduce your stress. And that's what we do as double reed players. Our exhalations are generally longer extended than our inhalations. So that is twofold. It's helping us, but it's also why people respond so positively to what we sound like, because we are causing them to also relax when they hear us most of the time.
Yeah. Also, you probably heard about this book, Music as Medicine, which is out now, and I've started to read it, and it has a lot of really great things in it. So that's on the list, I believe, as well. So we have resources that are out there, so it's important to take advantage of that and go through this. You don't have to read the whole chapter, read portions of it, take a few notes, and then go back to it, so that you can gain from that information. So, yes.
Okay, another question about breathing. I know probably many of us in this room had COVID. And so I go to my allergist and I talk about my allergies being worse after getting COVID. And it's been documented by one of the doctors, allergists, and so forth. So I'm just curious, anecdotally, if people around here have had issues with breathing and sinuses that have gotten worse after having COVID.
Long COVID. And the researchers, I was in the clinical trials for the COVID vaccine. I was one of the first people to get it. And what they told us originally was you will get sick. What we are trying to prevent is from the virus getting into the bottom third of your lungs and killing you. They've known this all along. We are trying to keep you from dying. But you will get sick, and probably more than once. I had COVID anyway, and the research is first coming out now of the long-term effects on the lungs. I became diabetic after COVID, and all kinds of crazy things going on. It is possible, it does happen, and I do have trouble breathing, but, you know, go back to practicing. Long tones.
I fortunately didn't have long COVID, but I have a friend that's a saxophone player, wonderful alto saxophone player, and he got long-term COVID. And he doesn't have the resistance to play saxophone anymore, but he plays flute brilliantly, but he had to put down the saxophone because of the resistance in the air that he had to blow through it. So it definitely had an impact on him. So it's a real thing.
We're going to address body image.
Yeah, can I just say one
Yeah,
thing?
please.
Finishing up on endurance, it's such an important part of playing, and as we age, we all have probably experienced the making our reeds a little bit lighter as we age. Our muscles are not as strong and resilient as we age as when we're younger. So playing a little bit lighter reed is a normal thing. And someone mentioned keeping up long tones. Valuing a warm-up schedule, a warm-up routine that incorporates a little bit of time with long tones on both oboe and bassoon can be helpful. It's keeping a very important part, not just the teeth, but the muscles that embrace the reed as strong as possible for as long as possible. So a little bit lighter reed, a little bit more consistent practice with long tones. Don't spend too much time, but a minute or 2.5 minutes can be very helpful.
And this sounds crazy. I know some of you may have seen Toyin doing a plank and practicing to develop abdominal muscles. There was a long time I was doing long tones laying in bed. And that's, if you can't sit up in a chair and you can't breathe, you play laying down if you want to keep it going.
Brenda, one aspect of endurance that is not yet addressed is kind of mental endurance. When you're practicing, you can always take a break. When you're playing something, especially if it's kind of long, it's very easy to kind of daydream and wander and kind of lose. And I don't know if anybody has a solution. I guess make sure you get enough sleep and stuff like that.
That's key. That sleep piece is essential, and because without that, your body has not rejuvenated its energy source, so forth and so on.
Please. We just have more topics we need to address, so please.
I'll be
let's
fast,
move on.
but when it comes to endurance also, you must do facial exercises. I know a lot of people don't know this, but you can do lots of exercises to increase and keep your muscles subtle in your jaw, right? And if you don't do anything massage-wise, they will stiffen up. So you have to exercise those muscles just like you would exercise your heart, right? So we have a lot of muscles around our jaw and our lips, and we have to exercise them, not only just playing, but smiling, moving your tongue in and out, stretching all these muscles in the neck is really important.
Kissing? Is kissing?
I'm
Bravo.
between the two of you.
Yeah, to watch it.
Nutrition, yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Can I just mention one more book? In general, there's a book called The Art and Science of Longevity by Dr. Peter Attia, A-T-T-I-A. You can get it on Amazon or any bookstore. And basically it goes backwards. If this is what you want to do when you're 95, this is what you have to do when you're 45. And it comes together sort of in the middle. And this is how you exercise, and this is how you build up your endurance, and this is what you have to do if you want to make it as long as you can make it, barring any unforeseen disease.